Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tony with Tony and Casey's American Road Trip. Today we're going to have a video that's a little bit different. We're going to talk about a personal life experience, and that is starting a YouTube channel at the age of 50 and over. So that's something I know a lot about, and hopefully it helps. So, do you ever feel like the world's trying to tune you out when you got the most to say? Well, folks, grab your cameras and buckle up because we're about to flip the script on age and wisdom in these digital times. Welcome to the YouTube revolution, where your silver hair isn't just distinguished, it's your ticket to stardom. Let me first say hey to everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart, the benefits of starting a YouTube channel at age 50 and over. If you're considering taking the plunge into the world of YouTube, stick around because we've got a lot to cover. By the way, my name is Tony from Tony and Casey's American Road Trip. Today we're not just talking about the vast wilderness outside our windows. No, we're venturing into a different kind of frontier, the digital landscape of YouTube. Now you might be thinking, what's a 50-something like me got to do with YouTube? Well, everything. You see, in this grand tapestry of life, we're all threads, each one unique, each one essential. And at age 50, 60, 70, heck, any age, your thread has a color, a texture that's all its own. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a vast digital ocean, the waves of content crashing against the shore, a discordance of voices, young and old, but there's a sound missing, your sound, your voice, shaped by decades of laughter, tears, triumphs, and failures. It's a voice that carries the weight of experience, the lightness of wisdom. Starting a YouTube channel at our age is like planting a tree in the fall of your life. And some might say, why bother? Winter's coming. But oh, the beauty of that tree is it stands strong against the wind, its leaves a testament to all you've lived through. You've got stories, my friend, stories that could light up the long, dark nights of someone's soul. Maybe it's the tale of how you survived the economic downturn in '08, or the secret to making a marriage last 30 years. Perhaps it's your knack for fixing old radios or your unique take on Walt Whitman. Whatever it is, in this digital age, your voice can travel farther than any radio wave. It can reach that kid in Europe who's looking for a mentor, or that retiree in Florida who just needs to know they're not alone. And let's not forget, this journey isn't just about what you give, it's about what you get. Learning to use a camera or figuring out the intricacies of a microphone, that's just not learning new tech. That's you reaching out and grabbing life by the horns, proving that the spark of curiosity never dies. So as the starlit nights dance above us, painting the sky with possibilities, I ask you, why not paint the digital sky with your own unique colors? After all, in the end, we're all just stories. Why not make yours a YouTube sensation? It's never too late to press record on a new adventure. Now, let's ponder for a moment on this grand adventure we call life. By the time you've hit the big 5-0, you've accumulated more stories than there are stars in the Montana sky. And each one of those stories, it's a gem, a nugget of pure, unfiltered experience. You see, when you start talking on YouTube, you're not just another voice in the digital wilderness. No, you're a seasoned traveler sharing tales from the road of life. You've navigated the twists and turns, the uphill battles and the downhill slides. You've danced in the rain and weathered the storms. Imagine this. You're sitting around a virtual campfire, and gathered around are folks from every corner of the globe. Some of, some of them are your age, nodding along as you speak, seeing their own reflections in your words. Others are young kids, wide-eyed and eager, soaking up every syllable like a parched earth in a summer rain. You start talking about that time you switched careers at 40, terrified but determined. Or maybe you share how you patch things up with your old man after years of silence. Perhaps you spill the beans on how you keep the spark alive in a 30-year marriage, or the secret to making a souffle that doesn't fall flat. These aren't just stories. They're lifelines thrown out into the vast ocean of the internet. Someone out there is treading water, desperately seeking the wisdom you've gained through years of trial and error. Your words could be the beacon that guides them safely to the shore. And let's not forget about those young people in a world of instant gratification and fleeting trends. Your steady voice is like a well-worn path through a chaotic forest. You're not just dispensing advice, you're passing down the oral tradition of human experience, adapted for the digital age. Remember, we are the wisdom we receive from our elders and our parents, whose stories shape our understanding of the world. Well, on YouTube, you become that elder for a global village. Your authenticity, your unvarnished truth, that's what cuts through the noise. In a world of filters and fakery, your real lived experience is more precious than gold. So whether you're sharing how to weather financial storms or the art of forgiveness, or simply how to make a pie crust as flaky as the promise of a car salesman, know this: your voice matters. Your experiences are the constellations by which others can navigate their own journey. After all, isn't that what we're all searching for? A little guidance, a lot of understanding, and the reassurance that no matter what life throws our way, we can handle it because others have walked this path before us and lived to tell the tale. Now let's talk about venturing into this digital frontier. Starting a YouTube channel at our age isn't just about sharing wisdom. It's about teaching an old dog some trade cool new tricks. Picture yourself standing at the foot of a mountain. Not a majestic Alaskan peak, mind you, but a mountain of blinking lights, cables, and screens that might look daunting. But remember, we're the generation that went from rotary phones to smartphones. We've got this. Learning to wrangle video production is like learning to tame a wild beast. At first it seems impossible, but then slowly you start to see the poetry in it. The way the light dances across the subject, how the right cut can make a story sing. Before you know it, you're not just filming, you're painting with light and time. And editing, well, that's where the magic happens. It's like being a time traveler and a storyteller all at once. You're piecing together moments, creating a tapestry of images and sounds that didn't exist before. It's creation. It's creation pure and simple. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the rush of seeing your first edited video come to life. Then there's the YouTube algorithm, a mysterious beast if there ever was one. Trying to understand it's like trying to predict the weather in the Carolinas. Just when you think you've got it figured out, it throws you a curveball. But that's the beauty of it. It keeps you on your toes, always learning, always adapting. It's a dance, and with each step, you're staying sharp, keeping that beautiful brain of yours firing on all cylinders. And let's not forget about social media. It's like suddenly finding yourself at a party where everyone in the world is invited. It can be overwhelming, sure, but it's also exhilarating. You're not just posting updates, you're reaching out across the vastness of cyberspace, connecting with people you never would have met otherwise. It's like being a modern day explorer, charting new territories from the comfort of your own home. The beauty of all this, my friends, is that it never stops. The technology is always evolving, always changing. But isn't that just like life? Always moving, always throwing new challenges our way. And just when we've done every other challenge in our lives, we adapt, we learn, and we grow. You're showing the world and yourself that learning doesn't stop at 50 or 60 or ever. Now let's talk about creating the perfect YouTube studio. As you can see behind me and around me, it's a work in progress. It always is, really. Um, Lighting, which I'm having to wear the sunglasses for, or anything. It's just another fun aspect of learning as you go and creating an environment. Let's talk about carving out your own little corner of the digital world. Setting up a YouTube studio might sound as daunting as building a cabin in the Alaskan wilderness, but fear not, it's more like setting up a cozy nook in your own living room. In making your YouTube studio, you're creating a space where magic happens, where your thoughts and ideas will transform into something tangible, something that can reach across the vastness of the internet and touch someone's life. It's like building a campfire in the digital woods, a warm, inviting spot where people can gather around and listen to your stories. Now, you don't need a Hollywood sound stage, as you can definitely see, or a fancy network studio. All you need is a little corner of your home and a few key pieces of gear. It's like packing for a journey. You want to travel light, but make sure you've got the essentials. So, first off, let's talk about capturing your voice. A good microphone is like a trusty compass, it'll keep you pointed in the right direction. Something like I have here, which is a Movo VXR10, I got for like $40. It's a good choice. It's the number one seller on Amazon. It's like having a pair of keen ears ready to capture every nuance of your well lived voice. And remember, your words carry weight. Make sure they're heard loud and clear. Then there's the camera. Now, I know what you're thinking, Tony. I'm not exactly ready for my close up. But here's the thing, a camera like the GoPro 9 Black, which I'm using for this, it's not there to judge. It's there to capture you in all your authentic glory. It's like a window allowing folks from all over to peer into your world to see the twinkle in your own eye, unless you're having to wear glasses, and when you're sharing a hard-earned piece of wisdom. And then there's the lighting, which is a work in progress for me. It's like the northern lights of your little studio. It doesn't have to be fancy. A couple of well-placed lamps can work wonders. It's all about creating a warm, inviting glow that says, come on in, pull up a chair, and let's chat. And don't forget about the software for editing. Think of it as your own digital Swiss Army knife. It might seem complicated at first, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be slicing and dicing your footage like a master chef preparing a gourmet meal. Something I'm working on constantly. The beauty of all this, my friends, is that it's yours. This little studio, it becomes a reflection of you. Maybe you'll hang up that old fishing rod in the background. I've got some records. Or showcase other vinyl records like mine that you've been collecting since the 70s. Whatever makes you, well, you. Just remember, this isn't about creating a slick, overproduced show. It's about creating a space where you can be yourself, where your personality can shine through. Because at the end of the day, that's what people are tuning in for. Not fancy equipment, but you, your stories, your insights, your unique way of looking at the world. So go ahead and carve out that corner, set up that camera, and let your voice be heard. Because your YouTube studio, it's not just a set of equipment. It's a portal connecting you to the world, one video at a time. Now, let me tell you about a curious phenomenon in this digital age. You see, starting a YouTube channel isn't just about sharing your stories, though that's the beauty in itself. No, it's also about potentially striking a new vein in the gold mine of life. You're standing at the crossroads of experience and opportunity. Behind you lies a road well traveled, paved with years of your life's work. But ahead, there's a new path, glimmering with the promise of unexplored possibilities. That path, my friends, is your potential YouTube career. Now, I know what you're thinking. Tony, I'm not looking to be the next internet sensation. But here's the thing, you don't have to be. In this vast digital ecosystem, there's room for all kinds of voices, all kinds of stories. And some of those voices, well, they end up resonating in ways that jingle more than just heartstrings. You see, on YouTube, your words, your experiences, your unique perspective, they're like currency. I'm talking about real, honest to goodness income potential. It's like finding out that the stories you've been telling around the campfire all these years could actually pay for the firewood. Ad revenue, for instance, it's like little digital tip jars scattered throughout your videos. Every time someone watches, it's as if they're dropping a coin in appreciation. It might start as a trickle, but streams have a way of growing into rivers if you keep at it. And then there's sponsored content. Imagine there's a company out there coming to you because they value your voice, your audience, your authenticity. It's like being a trusted friend who sometimes says, hey, I found this great thing and I think you might like it too. Only now that recommendation could help pad your retirement fund or pay for that trip that you've always dreamed of. But perhaps the most valuable thing you'll build, your personal brand. Now, I know brand might sound like corporate speak, but really it's just a fancy way of saying your reputation. It's the essence of you, bottled up and shared with the world. And let me tell you, a strong personal brand at our age, it's like having a well-aged whiskey in a world of light beers. This brand you build, it can open doors you've never even knew existed. Speaking engagements, consulting opportunities, book deals. Suddenly, the wealth of experience you've gathered over the years becomes a hot commodity. You're not just retiring, you're redirecting. Of course, it's not all about the money, but there's something profound about discovering that the stories you have to tell, the insights you have to share, are not just valuable in some abstract sense, but in a tangible, pay the bills kind of way. YouTube is a potential second act in the grand play of your life. And who knows, this act might just turn out to be the most rewarding one yet. After all, isn't that the beauty of life in this great wild world of ours? That just when you think you've reached the final chapter, you discover there's a whole new book waiting to be written. Another reason to start a YouTube channel at the age of 50 or over is staying mentally active. All right, now let's talk about keeping that beautiful brain of yours buzzing like a ham radio in a sunspot cycle. You see, starting a YouTube channel at our age isn't just about sharing wisdom, it's about keeping the old gray matter as spry as a mountain goat on a spring morning. Picture yourself standing at the foot of a digital Mount Mitchell. It's daunting, sure, with its peaks of new tech and valleys of trending topics, but here's the kicker. Every step you take up that mountain is like doing a yoga for your neurons. You're stretching mental muscles you forgot you had, maybe even growing some new ones. Now, I know what some folks say. They'll tell you they can't teach an old dog new tricks, but let me ask you this. Since when did any of us decide to be old dogs? No, my friends, we're more like those ancient bristlecone pines, maybe gnarled and weathered, sure, but still reaching for the sky, still growing after all these years. Keeping up with technology trends is like dancing with the aurora borealis. Just when you think you've got the steps down, it shifts. It shimmers, it throws you a curveball, but that's the beauty of it. Each new app you master, each new feature you wrangle, it's not just learning, it's mental aerobics. And there's a theory that says our brains are like plastic, not the stuff clogging up our oceans, mind you, but malleable and adaptable. They call it neuroplasticity. Fancy word, but it boils down to this. Every time you learn something new, you're reshaping your brain, you're forging new connections, blazing new neuron trails. And here's the real magic. This mental workout, it spills over into every aspect of your life. Suddenly, you're not just more adept at navigating YouTube, you're quicker on the uptake in conversation, more nimble in problem solving, more open to new ideas. It's like you've tapped into the fountain of youth, but instead of smooth skin, you're getting a sharper mind. So as you embark on this YouTube journey, remember you're not just creating content, you're cultivating cognitive vitality. You're you're proving that curiosity doesn't have an expiration date, that learning isn't just for the young, but the young at heart. After all, isn't that what we're all striving for? Not just to add years to our life, but life to our years. So fire up that camera and grapple with that new editing software. Dive into those analytics, because with every video you create, you're not just reaching out to the world, you're reaching into yourself, unlocking potential that you might not even know you had. The next reason to start a YouTube channel over 50 is to connect with a global community. Let's talk about something truly magical, the way this YouTube journey can turn the vast, often lonely cosmos of the internet into a cozy global village. Picture you're sitting in your living room, maybe with a cup of coffee that's as strong as the North Dakota winter. You hit that upload button, and suddenly your voice, your story, your very essence is catapulted across continents and oceans. It's like tossing a pebble into a pond and watching the ripples reach shores you've never even seen. Now I know what you're thinking. Tony, isn't the internet just a bunch of cat videos and people arguing? But here's the beautiful truth. It's also a lifeline, a web of connections waiting to be spun. And you, my friend, you're the spider at the center of your very own web. As you share your stories, your hard-earned wisdom, something magical starts to happen. Comments begin to pop up, not just empty platitudes, mind you, but real people reaching out. Maybe it's a kindred spirit in Kalamazoo who resonates with your tale of resilience, or a young woman in Winnipeg who's hungry for the kind of advice only decades of living can provide. Suddenly, that room you're sitting in is not so quiet anymore. It's filled with voices from around the whole globe, all gathered around the warmth of your shared experiences. It's like hosting the world's biggest coffee clatch right from your own home. And let's talk about your fellow creators. These folks, other YouTube creators, they're not competition. They're your new neighbors in this digital town. Maybe you'll collaborate with a history buff from Hoboken or swap editing tips with a gardening guru from Green Bay. Each connection is like adding a new instrument to your orchestra, creating a symphony of shared knowledge and friendship. You see, this YouTube journey is not just about broadcasting. It's about belonging. In a world where it's all too easy for folks our age to feel sidelined, forgotten, you're building a community where your voice matters, where your presence is celebrated. Remember how it felt when you first moved to a new town? The tentative hellos, the gradual forming of friendships? Well, this is like that, but on a global scale. And the beautiful part? Age, distance, background, none of that matters. What matters is the connections you forge, the understanding you share. So as you navigate this brave new world of content creation, remember that every view is a visitor to your house, every comment a conversation, every subscriber a new friend. You're not just uploading videos, you're downloading a whole new lease on life. In the end, it's a sense of purpose, a feeling of connection, of community, the knowledge that our stories matter. You're creating it one video at a time. In this vast, often lonely universe, what could be more beautiful than building a constellation of connections, a galaxy of friendships that spans the globe? Your audience, your community, they're out there. They're waiting. It's like a beautiful alchemy. Is that how you pronounce that word? That happens when you start sharing your hard-earned wisdom on YouTube. It's like distilling decades of life into a potential elixir of knowledge and then offering it up to a world that's thirstier than you might imagine. The next reason for starting your own YouTube channel over 50 is to share your expertise and knowledge. Let's talk about wisdom. Behind you lies a trail of experiences, the triumphs, the failures, the lessons you learn. It's a path that's taken you half a century or more to climb. Now imagine turning around and extending your hand to those still on their journey, helping them navigate the treacherous slopes and hidden crevices of life. That's what you're doing when you share your expertise on YouTube. You're not just talking into a camera, you're building a bridge across generations. It's like being the wise old owl in the forest of the internet, dispensing nuggets of wisdom to wide-eyed youngsters and grateful peers alike. Maybe you're a master carpenter and you're showing folks how to coax poetry out of raw wood, or perhaps you're a retired teacher unlocking the secrets of Shakespeare for a global classroom. Could be you're sharing the art of perfect pie crust, a skill honed over countless family gatherings. Whatever your expertise, it's like you're planting seeds of knowledge in the fertile soil of the internet. And let me tell you, there's something profoundly satisfying about it. It's like watching the northern lights dance across the sky, knowing that someone, somewhere, is seeing that beauty for the first time because you pointed it out. Every view, every comment saying, "Thank you, I finally understand." It's like a warm cup of coffee for your soul on a cold Vermont morning. Now, mentoring the younger generations, that's where the real magic happens. It's like being a time traveler, reaching back and offering the guidance you wish you'd had when you were young. You're not just teaching skills, you're passing on the context, the why behind the what. In a world of quick fixes and life hacks, you're offering something deeper, the kind of understanding that only comes with time. Here's the kicker. This sharing, this teaching, it's not a one-way street. Every time you break down a complex idea for your audience, every time you find a new way to explain an old concept, you're solidifying your own understanding. It's like the old saying goes, to teach is to learn twice. You're not just creating content, you're creating legacy. You're taking the essence of your life's work and releasing it into the world like dandelion seeds on the wind. Some will take root in expected places, others will flourish in soil you'd never imagined. After all, it's not just about accumulating knowledge, but passing it on. In this grand tapestry of life, you're making sure your thread is woven deep and true, connecting past to future in a way that only you can. After all, in the great cosmic story, what could be more fulfilling than knowing that long after we're gone, a piece of us lives on in the skills we've taught, the wisdom we've shared, and the lives we've touched. So go ahead and light that beacon of knowledge for others. And lastly, something that's very close to my heart is challenging age stereotypes. Let's talk about shaking up the snow globe of life and watching those age stereotypes scatter like snowflakes in a buffalo windstorm. Picture this: you're standing at the edge of the YouTube frontier, your silver hair gleaming in the glow of your computer screen. Society's trying to hand you a rocking chair, but you're reaching for a ring light instead. That's not just starting a channel, my friends, that's a revolution in high definition. Now, I know what the naysayers are whispering. They'll tell you that you can't do this at your age, but here's the thing: why not? No, at our age, we're like vintage wines, complex and full bodied, getting better with each passing year. And as for the new ideas, heck, we invented the old ideas. So the new ones are just variations on a theme we've been composing our whole lives. When you fire up that camera, you're not just filming, you're dismantling the rickety scaffold of ageism, one video at a time. It's like you're standing on top of a mountain, megaphone in hand, shouting to the world, "Hey, look at me. I'm not gently riding off into the sunset. I'm lighting it up with LEDs and shooting it in 4K. And let me tell you, that message, it echoes. It reverberates across the digital landscape, reaching ears young and old. To the youngsters, you're showing that life doesn't end at 40 or 50 or even 80. You're proof that the adventure is never over, that the book of life always has another chapter waiting to be written. But to your peers, oh, that's where the real magic happens. You're like a pebble tossed into a pond, and every view, every subscriber is a ripple spreading outward. Suddenly, Mrs. Johnson down the street's dusting off her old guitar and starting a music channel. Mr. Peterson, who always thought he was too old for all that internet nonsense, is now vlogging about his prized petunias. You see, by embracing this new digital frontier, you're not just changing your own story, you're giving permission to an entire generation, your generation, to rewrite theirs. You're showing that the golden years aren't about fading away, they're about burnishing your legacy until it shines. And here's the beautiful part: every time you struggle with a new piece of software, every time you figure out a new YouTube feature, you're not just learning, you're shattering expectations. You're showing that neuroplasticity isn't just a fancy term in scientific journals. It's alive and well in minds that society too often tries to write off. So, my friends, as you embark on this YouTube journey, remember you're not just creating content, you're creating change. You're part of a silver haired insurgency, armed with cameras and creativity, storming the barricades of ageism. After all, isn't that the essence of life in this wild world of ours, that every day has a chance to redefine ourselves, to challenge what others think we can do, to prove that the human spirit knows no expiration date? So go ahead and hit that record button. Show the world that over the hill is just another summit to conquer. Because in the end, age isn't about the years you've lived, it's about how you choose to live them. We approach the end of this little fireside chat about this grand YouTube adventure for people over 50. Let's take a moment to look back at the trail we blazed together. Picture you're standing on top of a hill, the kind we have plenty of here in North Carolina, and behind you lies the path you've walked for 5 decades or more, each step etched with experiences, each mile marked with memories, and before you a vast digital landscape teeming with possibilities waiting for your footprints. Starting a YouTube channel at our age is like being a seasoned explorer setting off into uncharted territory. You're carrying a backpack full of life experiences, ready to unpack them for a world that's hungry for authentic voices like yours. It's about sharing the kind of wisdom that only comes from dancing with life for a half a century or more. But it's not just about what you're giving, my friends, it's about what you're gaining. You're learning new skills, wrestling with technology in a dance that keeps your neurons firing like the 4th of July. You're setting up your own little corner of the internet, a digital cabin in the woods of YouTube where you can invite the whole world for a cup of coffee and a good story. And let's not forget the potential for a little gold panning in this digital stream. There's a chance to turn your words into more than just wisdom, maybe into a little nest egg for that dream trip you've been putting off. You're staying sharp, keeping your mind as agile as a mountain goat on these digital slopes. You're reaching out across the vastness of the internet, forming connections that span continents, building a community that knows no borders. You're passing on your knowledge like the elders of old, but to a global village that's eager to learn. You're expressing your creativity in ways that you might never have imagined, proving that the spark of innovation doesn't dim with age. It burns brighter. And perhaps most importantly, you're standing tall in the face of stereotypes, showing the world that life's third act can be the most exciting one yet. You're inspiring your peers to pick up their own cameras, to tell their own stories, to join this silver-haired revolution. Sure, there'll be hurdles. There always are when you're blazing new trails, but isn't that part of the adventure? So, my friends, as we stand here at the crossroads of experience and opportunity, I ask you, why wait? The world is out there, ears open, hearts ready, waiting to hear what you have to say. Your voice, shaped by decades of laughter and tears, triumphs and failures. It's unique, it's valuable, and it's needed. Remember, in the grand cosmic story, it's never too late to start a new chapter. So pick up that camera and fire up that microphone. The digital stage is set and the spotlight's waiting. Your audience is out there, and they're ready for the wisdom only you can share. And after all, it's not just about accumulating years, but using them to touch lives, share stories, and leave your mark on the world. So go ahead and take that leap. And the next time we meet, it might just be on your YouTube channel. But my name's Tony, and this is Tony and Casey's American Road Trip, signing off and reminding you that in the YouTube universe, age isn't just a number, it's your superpower. Use it wisely, use it often, and most of all, use it to light up the world with your unique spark. Until next time, keep those cameras rolling and those stories flowing. Your adventure is just beginning.